Okay, here's what happened to our people. We must understand the 21st century, and we work our way back into understanding what is the most significant time period before the 21st century that was very major in history. And this is known as the 7th century. Now, in between the 21st century and the 7th century is the missing years of called the 1400 missing years. The 1400 missing years come between the start of the 7th century and the start of the 21st century. This is when they made the switcheroo. So 7th century AD, all black people was ruling the world, known as the first Americans. For 1400 years, you was ruling the world on the other side of the waters. So from the 1st century BC, or as they say, the highest point in BC, 25,000 BC, all the way to 1st century AD, you was ruling the world. And you was ruling the world in BC times in America. And during the later parts of the BC, you started taking the knowledge from America over to Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Syria, what is called the Middle East. So this is how the Great Conflict came. When we went across the waters and we helped the other people on across the waters, namely Babylon in Mesopotamia, is the ones who turned on us. And when they turned on us, this is where slavery begins. So we have to understand the 1400 missing years. So for us to understand the 14 missing years, we got to start in the start of the 7th century. So in the 7th century, we have something called the Way. This is the height of civilization. This is the height of all culture. This is the pinnacle of what our ancestors done for ourselves and all of humanity. And this knowledge that we've been doing from early BC times all the way to AD, we built this knowledge up. So when it came around 610, we built this knowledge up and we finally put it into the way of life. And it was called the Way. And so these people stole our heritage by reversing what is called the Way. The Way for us started in 610 as a form of legal doctrine. We had our own legal doctrine. And our own legal doctrine was called the Way. Now, the Way was in the 7th century. So 1,000 years was added to 610. So with 1,000 years added to 610 by the Romans, this pushed 610 to 610. The year of the King James Bible, 1611. So when we got 1611, the King James Bible, there's been an additional 1,000 years added on to the King James Bible. So now we know the King James Bible, this is why it's dated 1611. What we know prior to 1611 is 1607. 1607 is the establishment of Jamestown Colony. How did they establish Jamestown Colony in 1607? Through the King James Bible. So from 1607 all the way up to what we have now, 2026, we have the 400 years plus. We have the 400 years plus of slavery. It was really sorcery and magic. Over 400 years of sorcery and magic. We haven't been enslaved, we just been under sorcery. So 1,000 years added to 610 plus 400 years of sorcery and magic on our land equates us to 1,400 years, the missing years of the knowledge. So we only have to understand 400 years of knowledge, understanding the wisdom of what happened during these 400 years. So what happened during these 400 years was sorcery and magic was put on the people of America, the blacks, the Negroes, the African Americans, the people that was called by over 100 different names by foreigners. Our ancestors never called us these names. So now when we talking about, this is where we must know and understand why religions was formed. Religions was formed to hijack the way. So what we followed was not called religion. What we followed was called nature. Nature was our natural religion. So we wasn't spiritual people nor physical people. We was natural people. We were people of nature. And this is what the way represented, the natural nature of the universe. So our religion was natural or nature. They turned the way into religion, which became known as Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So with this being said, this is what was covering us for over 14, or let's just say 400 years. Because 1,000 years is just added, like to account. They just added 1,000 years, which made their debt double. So instead of them paying 400 years, they're going to be paying 1,400 years because they did this to themselves. But 400 years is the sorcery and magic placed on the people of the land of America. So that's in a nutshell of the missing 1,400 years, in that we now have broke the spell of religion. We know the way. As-salam, as-salam. All Sooth Ayan.